The languages offered at Avonworth High School, Latin, French, Spanish, and Mandarin Chinese, are really worth attempting to participate in because of college purposes, being a well-rounded student, and being able to communicate the language to people across the globe. Have you ever wanted to greet someone in a different language?
Sole.
Hola.
Ni hao.
Bonjour. Level 1 is your introduction to the new language in the teaching environment. Level 2 is the next stage to being more comfortable with the language and helps build a better understanding of the language. Level 3 is the last stage before you move on to AP and is the last level before you enter the AP class. Each of these languages is 1 credit. As you all may know, Madam Hart is the French teacher here at Avonworth. We interviewed her about the class. The first question was, what sort of topics does your curriculum cover? Her response was, in the French program, we cover everything from family and pets to arts and literature. In French 1, the topics are more everyday, weather, food, family, and activities. The sorts of things that you would need to describe yourself in your daily life. In French 2, we introduced the past tense so that students can describe actions that they have already done. This takes the learning from the here and now and allows the students to tell stories about their past. French 3 is a big grammar year. Students learn lots of new verb tenses so that they can describe what they will do in the future, what they would do in certain situations, and what others want them to do. We also do a lot with storytelling in the past and descriptions. AP French covers a variety of topics such as literature, art, current events, and global struggles. We do a lot of reading and discussion, and students learn to truly express themselves and their thoughts in language. Students who have made it to this level have always loved the experience. The next question was, how many levels are offered in your class? She responded, next year we will have levels 1, 2, 3, 4, and AP. However, this will be the last year for the level 4 class. The following year and for years that follow, we'll have levels 1, 2, 3, and AP, with all students eligible for beginning language study in 9th grade. The final question was, what sort of activities do you do with your students involving the language? She responded, during class we do a lot of speaking and communicating. We also do a lot of project-based learning. Beyond the school day, I am the sponsor of French Club, and we meet after school pretty much every month to do fun cultural activities that involve food and fun. I also travel abroad to France every other year in the summer with groups of students. Our next trip is planned for the summer of 2017. What are your thoughts on the teaching style provided by Madam Hart?
Okay, I think Madam's an awesome teacher. I think it's really cool to be able to be interactive with the language that we're learning. It's not like English class where you sit down and write and just absorb what the teacher says. You actually do activities. You pretend like you're actually in French culture, which is really cool. And then I have relatives overseas, which is really cool to be able to talk to them and actually use the language.
Yeah, she's really authentic in everything she teaches, and she's also very upbeat all the time, which is not something you get from all the teachers at Avonworth, so that's really nice. And every time we come in here, it's going to be a fun experience, as language teaching should be, and it's something that we've all obviously enjoyed because we've taken 5 years of it. So it's been a really fun time.
And Izzy and I actually traveled to France, and everything that she taught us in this class helped a lot over there.
And does the information taught to you aid in any other classes, or has it in the past?
I think that it really helps in English class because we read a lot of books from different parts of the world or backgrounds, and a lot of books too have different languages in them, just as phrases of the characters' cultures. So it does help in that respect, and I think it's really helpful learning vocabulary too, because there's a lot of French words that have similar roots to English words. So if you know the meaning of one, then you can easily learn the meaning of the other.
The first thing about Mrs. Regal's teaching style is that we do a lot of projects to reinforce what we've already learned, which kind of helps you figure everything out and solidify what you've already learned. Take our column, for example. That was one of our biggest projects, but it was also the most fun.
I also think that a majority of our class is independent work.
So it really builds up responsibility and confidence in the sense that you have to do a lot of things yourself or work with the team. And if you ever miss school, it's on your plate to be able to make it up. Another thing about Mrs. Regal that I personally really enjoy is she doubles as a friend and a teacher. Throughout high school, I think that all of us can say that we've had really good conversations in this class. It's always been enjoyable.
Does the information taught to you aid you in any other classes, or has it in the past?
Absolutely. Yeah. Probably more than anything else we've learned in high school. I mean, one, it definitely preps you for SAT vocab sections, stuff like that. It's taught me more about grammar than any English class has. To word within a word in 10th grade was so much easier because of that.
And what levels have you all been in while at Avonworth?
1 through 5, flex through 5, yes.
How many levels of Spanish were you present in?
I took Spanish 3 through AP Spanish.
How did you react to the teaching style provided by Senora?
I like Senora's teaching style because she taught a lot of immersion, and I had a good foundation from Senorita with grammar and sentences and different conventions of the language, so I reacted well to the immersion that Senora uses.
Did you enjoy the class or just push through it to get it over with to look good for college?
I loved Spanish because it was my favorite class, and it's still my favorite class. I took it in college, and now I tutor Spanish after school.
Does anything you learn in Spanish help you with life at college at all? If so, what?
It helps with Spanish class at college if you're required to take Spanish. It also helps if you want to pursue a business degree because you can talk to people in different businesses if they speak a different language. And I have my education degree, which was really helpful because I'm able to talk to students in Spanish when I teach.
What are your thoughts on the Polycom system in the Chinese room versus having a real teacher there to interact with you?
Okay, well, personally, I would prefer to have a real teacher physically there, but pros and cons, I would say maybe a con of having the teacher there is that with a couple years of experience that I've had in the Chinese room, since we have a Polycom system, we get a new teacher each year, and I think it's kind of interesting to have a new teacher because you're able to learn about different provinces and different cultures within China, and you're able to kind of hear different accents, and I feel like you learn a lot more that way. But a pro of having the teacher actually physically in the room, I would say, is that you have a teacher there. I think that'd be so much easier. I think it's kind of difficult to have them on the Polycom system because they're not physically there and you can't interact with them. You can't, I don't know, they don't see everything. So it's kind of, I think it'd be better to have a teacher actually there.
Overall, we recommend to get involved with languages offered at Avonworth High School. You never know if you're going to find yourself in another country and won't be able to speak to all of the unique people within those countries. Even though some of you may not be interested in learning a foreign language, but it's always good to know a little about each of them.